Amazing. So, thank you so much for having me. I'm Shivani Srivastav. I head ad sales at Phonepe. Just a little bit about my journey. Been with Phonepe for 5 years now. Built the entire ads vertical from ground up. So, I'm really excited to be here and talk about the digital India story with Phonepe. Now, the digital payments landscape has transformed dramatically in the last 5 years. We've truly seen an explosion, and UPI is leading the charge with exponential acceleration in tier 2, 3, 6 cities of the country. There is also a growing merchant acceptance network. Be it Flipkart, be it a Peter England outlet, be it a Kirana store, or your favorite chai sutta stall. Today, 50% of all payments are digital in India, and they contribute to a $3 trillion digital payments market. But guess what? That's expected to hit 10 trillion by 2026. India's GDP, on the other hand, is expected to become 5 trillion by 2026. So the growth of digital payments is outpacing even India's GDP. Now, what does that mean for people like us? What does it mean for so many of us in the room? Cash will no longer be the king. 2 in 3 payments are going to be digital. Phonepe is a massive juggernaut leading this wave of UPI and digital payments in the country, and we have front row seats to this explosion. Now, while we have spoken about digital payments, what does digital payments really contribute? Now, today, and these are May data, right? May numbers, digital payments is a 12 billion transaction volume monthly and roughly $2,300 billion by value. But UPI is the largest shareholder by volume at 78%, followed by credit cards and debit cards at 6% and wallets at 5%. And one of the questions I get very, very commonly is, where are these UPI transactions coming from? So 40% of all these UPI transactions are peer-to-peer. When you send money to another friend, when you send money to another contact in your phone list. And 60% is peer-to-merchants when you're actually making a payment. Now, interestingly, in a country with 750 million smartphone users, UPI has been supercharging the India's transition to non-cash and non-card payments also, especially during the pandemic. In financial year 2022 alone, UPI showed almost 20 times the credit and debit cards transactions in the country. And that's humongous, right? You may wonder why. UPI was designed for the mobile phone, and cards were designed for the web and the POS era. And that's just the reality of things. But interestingly, our leadership, and I don't mean just Phonepe's leadership, I'm talking about India's leadership, is at a global level as well. We are leading the digital payments globally at 46% in global real-time payments. And this number is expected to hit 70% by 2026, ahead of Brazil, China, Thailand, and South Korea. Now, digital payments is becoming an all-pervasive in society, and yet there is so much green field to cover. 300 million users have already adopted digital payments as a lifestyle, and yet there are another 500 million users to go. And doesn't that make you feel proud and excited at the same time of the opportunity which exists? Now, why am I here? Why are we here talking about digital payments as a story? Now, Phonepe is the undisputed market leader in the UPI ecosystem, with 50% market share at 465 million registered users and 215 million monthly active users that come onto the app 40 times a month. We have scale, we have reach, and we have engagement that truly represents Bharat. Now, I get this question a lot, that what was Phonepe's vision when we set out? When we set out to solve this entire business, we had a very, very clear vision to be a part of customers' entire money journey. From sending money to spending money, be it online or offline, to growing money, which is wealth management. In 7 years of our existence, we have solved for every single majority of use case at scale. Today, we process 165 million transactions a day. We have a huge strength from the Bharat, where we have almost 80% of our users actually coming from tier 2 and tier 3. And while we all speak about consumers, the other end of the equation are the merchants. And we have 35 million offline merchants that are actually available on Phonepe for Business app. Now, when we speak about coverage, let's drill it down a little deeper to the PIN code level. We covered 99.95% of PIN codes in the country. So you can basically pay using Phonepe even at a Chai Maggi stall at Pangong Lake in Ladakh. That's the power of digital payments. That's the power of Phonepe. Now, while we speak about Phonepe and the journey that we've been, one of the interesting observations that the entire India is witnessing is that how a tier 3 or a rural user in India has started to initiate their digital journey through payments, not through commerce, right? And that's where the digitization of Bharat through payments is something that the country is transforming. Now, some of the snippets from this journey which establishes how digital payments has become a lifestyle. We have 450 million bank accounts that are linked on Phonepe. As the market leaders in the Bharat Bill Pay ecosystem with 45% contribution, we power 100 million households with their utility bill payments. This is across electricity, DTH, broadband, and so much more. And at 2.5 billion monthly offline payments and 1 billion monthly online payments, I don't think I need to speak anymore of the scale and the power that we bring to the table. Now, as India's only platform processing the user spending habits across every single use case at scale, what it makes us is India's richest, most diverse destination for building audience intelligence across demographic, psychographic, and even behavioral profiles. Now, given the crowd in this room, and I see a lot of FMCG brands, I see a lot of BFSI, I see a lot of variety of other brands, I thought it would be useful to talk about maybe some just few key demographics. So almost 180 million of our users actually come from beyond the top 8 metros. We have 175 million NCCS A and B users, and we have 40 million women. Now, all of this is great. One of the most interesting things that we realized when we were looking at these profiles was, how can we actually capture the interest and intent to purchase of the customer? Because at the end of the day, that is what will establish relevance for brands present in this room, right? So we took things one step further and we built 2 product features, and we're building more, to establish this relevance. So we launched something called as consumer preferences a year back. Now what consumer preferences does is, it basically allows the users to select the categories or industries where they're looking out for coupons from. And data shows that users, when given coupons from their preferred categories, are 15 times more likely to convert. Today, we have 175 million preferences submitted on the platform. 70% from fashion and retail, 60% from FMCG, and 40% from healthcare and wellness. And that's huge, because we are not predicting, we are not building a lookalike model for this set. This is user coming ahead and telling explicitly what they really want. The other interesting bit on the psychographic side has been the bookmarks. Now, we've all used bookmarks in our life in various formats. But on Phonepe, you basically can bookmark a coupon so that you can easily navigate to it and use it for fulfillment later. Some numbers which will blow your mind: 100 million bookmarks have been submitted in the last 6 months, and 60% of them have been driven to purchase. So it's about building the features that make an impact, not just for the user, but if it makes an impact for the user, it will make an impact for the brand on the platform. Now, as our user expanse is so huge, and the category diversity which we bring, we wanted to harness all of this depth of transaction into building audience intelligence based on a lot of behavioral signals. I'm sure that's something a lot of brands can today claim that they can do. But interestingly, it's not just about the fact that we have 60 million e-commerce spenders or 95 million offline grocery buyers. But the point is, if there are 95 million offline grocery buyers, 10 million out of them are also online. So the ones who are online How often do they shop on offline? Is it at a supermarket? Is it at a kirana store? Are there different patterns to these spends? Do their patterns of spending vary across even a kirana and modern trade retail? And that's the power of insights that can actually be generated, can actually be drilled down. Food and beverage, online and offline spenders. There are 90 million of these users. While the industry has these marketplaces which are dominating, a lot of brands are trying to push their own D2C apps, are trying to get more customer footfalls into QSRs. So actually drilling down and identifying that is the power of the data that we can bring to the table. So basically, you can target someone like Shivani, who probably lives in Rajkot or maybe Siliguri, owns a mobile device of 15,000 rupees, has a two-wheeler, shops grocery at a sparse supermarket near to you, maybe shops on apparel on Myntra, but only does her electronics purchases during the Big Billion Day. That's the power of information that we have. Now, when me and my team, we were looking at the audience in this room, we realized that there are a lot of new age fintech platforms. And as the platform that has been able to solve the entire spend manage journey, one of the biggest, largest audience synergies that we bring to the table is our ability to help find the right audience for the fintech platforms in the country. So I thought it could be useful to actually show some snippets from our wealth management progress here. We have 80 million digital early adopters. We have 30 million premium device owners. But the two numbers that personally I am very proud of is we have 10 million gold customers, digital gold customers, and 60% of them are actually coming from tier 2 and tier 3. And that takes me back to my earlier point of how digital payments is now becoming a lifestyle, and it's not just another mode of existence anymore. Now, as we move further, I do want to take a step back from talking about digital payments, talking about the audience that we have, and talking about what it could do for people in this room. Now, our founder and CEO, Sameer Nigam, has this thing that he speaks about, which I personally reflect a lot to, is that we as fintech platforms in the country are beneficiaries of a very unique ecosystem. Aadhaar-enabled systems, UPI, BBPS, FASTag, RTGS and NEFT APIs. There is so much that has been given by government machineries and regulatory frameworks that has allowed all of us actually to scale so much, but especially the fintech platforms, right? But when we started out, and as recent as 2 years back, there was no information available at a granular level on the penetration of digital payments, on the macro indicators, on what are the consumer habits, what are the merchant habits. And that's how we wanted to harness all of this information in a secure and anonymous fashion to unleash the power of this information on the market. And that's how presenting to you Pulse. Phonepe Pulse is an open resource which is available for anybody to look at. You can drill down at any district, city, pin code level, understand what kind of transactions are happening, understand what kind of categories is it happening in, and basically, you truly use data as an enabler. It's an open source resource. You can hit our APIs for any granular data that you might want to use. Maybe you want to identify the next set of cities where you want to launch your new stores. Maybe you want to penetrate a geography where you understand your competition is very, very strong. Or maybe you just want to understand user profile in a certain district where you want to build awareness for your upcoming product. Data is now available in your hands. Now, as we look at all of this data, and when we were looking at Pulse, there were some facts which came out which was really fun and very, very interesting. So I thought it would be useful to probably put some of this here and make all of you also privy to this. My favorite one is the last one, Shagun for good luck. As Indians, we talk about Shagun so much. That extra 1 rupee that our mothers add, or if you guys remember as childhood, we used to have those envelopes with 1 rupee stuck on it. It shows in digital payments as well. 25% of our users actually add a rupee to their payments every time they're transferring money to somebody in their contact. And isn't that amazing? Payments has the power to truly show the way Indians live and exist in their lives. Now, as I was walking into this room, I was also thinking that it would be unfair to not talk about ONDC when it's such a new thing for the entire country, right? Today, 40 million offline merchants have already come on board the digital bandwagon. However, payments is the perfect bridge that is and will democratize commerce. PIN code is Phonepe's brand new shopping app. It's our revolutionary approach to e-commerce where we are putting merchants, sellers at the center of the digital shopping story. What we're trying to build is a city narrative, and we aim to solve this on the pillars of digitization and convenience. We launched in Bangalore a few months ago. We are now live in 10 cities. What users get out of this app is access to the widest range of catalog in their cities. Along with that, unique product features of multi-cart, global product search to ease the shopping experience. But I think it's a massive win for actually the merchants, for actually the sellers, because they will be driven to digital inclusion. And for them, the whole commerce experience will finally be digitized with standard operations and logistical efficiency. And that's the PIN code story. Now, so what, right? We've had 400 million users who have already adopted digital payments as a lifestyle. But the fact is, what has worked for the first wave may not work for the next wave of mass adoption of digital payments. What are we going to do differently to identify and bring the next 500 million users on board the digital payments wagon? There are a lot of new things coming up in the space of payments. There is UPI Lite, which basically allows you to do seamless payments of low ticket size items in even the low internet connectivity spaces. You have UPI 123, which is finally UPI for feature phones, right? And that's going to tap the entire next 400 million feature phone users in the country. You have credit on UPI, auto pay on UPI. And that's only on the payments front. On the ads front, we continue to bring the widest reach in the country. We are deepening our cohorts available. We understand that's a strength. We are willing to push boundaries further and bring custom cohorts with very, very high relevance. But what is coming up as a big wave is that we are launching our own suite of brand solutions by H2 this year that actually allows brands to uniquely leverage fintech. Because truth be told, we are not like any other platform. Fintechs work differently, the user behavior is very, very different. So the way you attract users on a fintech platform needs to be different. And finally, on financial services. Phonepe is building India's most comprehensive financial services platform. Right from the start, our philosophy has been very simple. We want to build customer-centric products backed by deep understanding of customer needs along with simplified payment flows. And that's exactly what we're trying to do. We have been able to simplify what is traditionally known as complex products, insurance and MF. We launched merchant lending a few months back. We've already disbursed 20,000 loans since May 23. On the insurance side, we've been live since March 2020, 11 products across travel, health, motor, life. We're already leading the country when it comes to the two-wheeler insurance. So there is so much to do. There is so much journey to go. We truly believe that India is going to explode on the digital front, and Phonepe will continue to play a very, very large role on it. The reality is that the pulse of Bharat is getting unlocked, every single customer, every single PIN code, one at a time. Let's unleash the infinity possibilities together. Thank you so much.
Shivani, thank you very, very much.